Hello, Sagittarius. This is 2016 for you. Interesting year. You become an authority figure. So my name is Victoria Martin. I'm going to be guiding you through the highlights of the year. So each month I'm going to have a little kind of postcard thing here saying what's the month going to be like, and this is kind of true for everybody. And then in the following slides we're going to look at how does it rate for you. So the flavor of the month January 2016, we're going to all get omens about who has real power. We can expect more revolution and upgrade jitters. Be cool, manage your brand and duties is my advice. Mercury's retrograde January 5th through 25th, so extra care in communications and transportation during that time period. So I'm just going to be picking out one or two highlights for each month. And in January, I think the highlight's going to be the new moon. New moon, I'm encompassing a large period here for this new moon phase, the 3rd through the 11th. This will be in a conjunction that is 0 degrees to planet Pluto. And what the new moons are all about: open, receptivity, expectant, things happening. In this case, you're expecting to make more money or to gain more wealth in terms of, or just to acquire more resources, to have a more profound sense of aesthetics, and of course fortification of your instincts. So Pluto's been in this area for quite some time, for about 7 years, and so or even longer, maybe 10 years. And so you've been accumulating trade secrets regarding materials, tools, resources. So life can change for the better, maybe irritating at first, but what's the potency here is what you want to ask yourself. So that would be fairly easy in itself, but what's going on here is Uranus in the 5th house is you have a sort of manic phase, which can be very, very productive in terms of talent. Your children might be, if you have any children, might be showing signs of genius, and so somehow managing these two, of keeping the resources coming to support the talent, and yet maintaining control over resources, and so that's the ongoing challenge, right? In January and for the rest of the year. So in February, I would typify this month as being a sleeper. It's going to wake up at the end, but even then might seem really dreamy. So my advice: pay attention to subtle cues and clues, train your ESP, avoid toxins, and shun illusion. Okay, the full moon is in your 10th house, and it brings light to life's purpose, ambitions, and goals for you Sagittarians. At the same time, Neptune is transiting, or you could say visiting, your 4th house. So there's a complex family issues. Property and management might be compounded with issues like water, mold, or sensitivity. So your basis for happiness might be largely based on spirituality or mysticism, but you have to watch out for illusions, trickery, toxins, and chaos. Well, that's a full order. And this is all going to come up on this full moon, so you can watch for it. Full moon phase is starting 20th. I think you might see effects of this whole configuration going until March 2nd. Okay, so March, a lot of eclipses, and also that we're going to manifest global opinion shifts, especially regarding topics of religion, patronage, and healing. So be ready for anything, keep the faith, use science and worst case analysis. That'll help you. So in this case, solar eclipse in your 4th house is you are trying to set some positive trends, basis for happiness, and in terms of getting family in line, getting your real estate organized. So solar eclipses are more challenging for men, but in other ways, this is just kind of checking up on the past, monitoring things, but also setting new trends. So then that's followed by a full moon lunar eclipse in your 11th house. So this can challenge standards, but in this case, seeing who is really going to be working with you to further your projects, and maybe who unfortunately maybe isn't. So watch for signs on this lunar eclipse. When we get to April, this is going to be a wild and futuristic month. So my advice is use your charismatic yet humane elements at work in your personality. A quest, should you decide to accept it, will be helped by a study of science and yet more special interest group networking. All right. So the new moon in April is projects can use genius, hypnosis, and innovation. The new moon is focused on your talent. We talked about that earlier, that you're seeing genius in yourself and or in your children, if you have any children. And there's a great sense of expectancy, and then you add the element of, maybe, this kind of power and wealth potential, or maybe someone offering to help you, and then you want to see are there strings attached, what are the trade secrets involved. So it's, to get backers is often very good, to get help, but then also if this is dealing with your children, that they have to learn how to manage resources properly, and that sort of thing. So this is the kind of lesson we see coming up during that time frame. In May, heroic missions beckon. Muscle, courage, and street smarts are prerequisites for any kind of mission. Strong allies can reinforce each other via affection. What could be better? And pool resources for great success. Now, watch out, though, for this Mercury retrograde phase starting late in April and going through May 22nd. So, in this case, the full moon is bringing light into your personality. You have tremendous leadership capability, and you probably feel very, very confident about what you're doing. You're going to see a lot of people in show-off mode, so you want to be demonstrating strength, but it could be getting hyped up. So the ox needs management, and also know your limits, because you're going to be motivated to do a lot of activity, and be realistic about what you can really do. So in June, this is a rewarding but challenging month with tricky and tempting components. This is a kind of a contest between superpowers. So my advice, use strategy, not emotions, unless you need to vent your emotions and have a purge or catharsis. That's great. But management and adaptive modes will say to you, revise, revise, revise. And you'll see why in a second. We have a new moon phase, and just to isolate the new moon is that's a time for you to develop new partnerships, social life, and public persona. And this will work out great because you're an authority figure now. Saturn transiting your first house is you're going to be looked upon as someone who has extra organization, dignity, expertise, professionalism. Now, what happens when Saturn goes through your first house is other people are impressed with you, but you might not be at all impressed with yourself. So what I always say is better that way than the other way around. Now, to make things more complicated, we know that there's this, you could say, atmosphere of complexity in your family, property, and management, where you have to be really, have an ear to the ground and see what's going on and be very empathetic with family members who may be very sympathetic. Meanwhile, you have some opportunities connected to your career that have been going on since, I would say, since September 2015. So here's all these things crowding in at once, and it's everything calling for attention. So, if you set it up right in the new moon, that is, if everything giving its in turn, do this, do that, then you'll be ready. If you think it's going to be like a normal week, the first week of June, I would say not. Okay, so let's move on to July. Regrouping on issues calls for timeout because June was a marathon. My advice, take stock, see who's on your team. And in terms of team building, the new moon will emphasize collaborations and contracts and troubleshooting, and this can be really exciting, open and receptive to new deals. And then, of course, you've got to look back and say, what resources do you have that are really going to work? And what trade secrets can you bring into the deal and yet not reveal? What's a trade secret if it all gets turned inside out and revealed? So the options are to renew important alliances, be a diplomat, transform your plan as needed. That's my advice. Okay, so let's look into August. The first 3 quarters, that is the first 3 weeks, are kind of fun. So play it up to the max, summer vacation. But then the back to school time holds many dear lessons. So build your strength and be ready. You don't want to exhaust yourself in the first part of August. So here's what's going on is that you are going to have to be the leader in terms of this, whatever it is, these these projects that come up at the end of August, but you could have renewed strength, but at the same time, maybe too heavy-handed. Either other people can't keep up with you, or you overload yourself. It depends on your situation, your age, how well you can know your own strengths and your limits. I can't tell how that's going to go. But the thing that makes it more complicated is that there's some people either in your family or that your management that it's just like so complicated, so you may need extra help with your family or with management. So you've got to know, as a fearless leader, what do you need to make this thing work, given the complexity of the situation you're dealing with, whether it's family, property, or management. Okay, Also, that what's kind of interesting, the end of August, this is the high point of your career period. Pardon me. So September is eclipse season again. So assignments will take you on this rocky road, though positive outcomes are likely. Changes in the wind. The last week is very lucky. The first 3 quarters, ongoing management and trend monitoring, carry over from August. Mercury is retrograde, also carry over from August, starting August 30th through September 22nd, so extra care in communications and transportation. So this solar eclipse that we're seeing on September 1st is emphasizing the 10th house, life purpose, ambitions, triumphs over obstacles. So this could be very, very encouraging. You have some extra courage to move forward and set things straight the way they should be. And, because we know Saturn in your first house gives you more dignity, expertise, professionalism. And even though you have this kind of, like herding cats or whatever in this complicated situation with your home and family, it's something that you maybe understand a little bit better because this has been going on now since November 2015. Okay, and it's kind of ending during this period or winding down. Okay, so then the lunar eclipse is emphasizing that very thing, of family, property, and management, and maybe giving some warnings here, portrayals of human folly. Well, maybe that'll help people in your family get up to where they should be. And also there's this karmic links coming through, family, distant family, or people that you've known in the neighborhood or whatever coming through. So it's kind of complicated. But then October is a whole different thing. It's starting off with a bang as a rocket ride into the future, very fun socially. So get out, be generous, learn new skills. October's fabulous. New moon in your 11th house, benefactors, patrons, and friends. And this is, you can see the dawn of a new era here where you're in these really positive relationships, really great sociability, good fortune, connected with groups, enthusiasm. So that's going to go on for 12 months. Okay, the full moon in October 12th through 18th emphasizes your talent, and this is going to be, really, really, wild ride brings unexpected results, good insights about futurism, camaraderie, manic leanings, that's what we see with Uranus, but true genius here, and you could do some amazing talent. Oops. November is mostly neutral, yet with surprise options, like I almost just fell off the stage. Okay, it's good for catch-up, but a lucky new moon at the end of November preps for December's marathon. So here we see again the emphasis on benefactors, patrons, and friends, and you've got that tricky mix of friends and money is what's going on here in November. So you've got to, don't feel that you've got to compete with people, and maintain your own sanctity. The new moon here at the end of November emphasizes your leadership, your identity, body, and personality and appearance. This is fortified by these new friends and by the fact that you're feeling really confident and courageous, going into all kinds of new meetings with some additional media skill set. December is an action-packed marathon, squeezing out extra work as end of year dictates completions ASAP. A visionary new moon will set up the New Year's trends for 2017. Mercury's retrograde December 19th through January 8th. Okay, so here again, Saturn in your first house, you're an authority figure, you're professional, and you have this great versatility because of all this talent development you've had. So you're not only like a person to be reckoned with, but you've got strong talent. And then what's going to happen is you should get some really positive feedback on this full moon, that's December 11th through 15th, from partnerships, social life, and public types of enterprises. And this will continue through 2017, that Jupiter in your 11th house, bringing you all kinds of new group affiliation, and then drawing on newly developed talent. And also you can do very well with integrating your children into some group context, children, that is, if you have any. So the final thing we're going to look at here is that the new moon at the end of December 2016 will bring you into a renewed confidence, a renewed planning session regarding resources, aesthetics, and instincts. And at the same time, we see some additional activity in your home. There's a lot of things getting riled up, and maybe there, you get a force in that can renovate or clean, or more independence, more courage, and just this kind of thing of taking a really interesting and complex project of home, family, property management maybe into some kind of fruition. So anyway, that's it for this year. I mean, really interesting year for Sagittarians, a lot of leadership, and I'm wishing you a great year. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Victoria Martin.
Bu akşam seminerimizi canlı olarak mobil uygulamamız üzerinden yapıyoruz.